2-0 up after 55 minutes, Japan was set to pull off the biggest shock of the 2018 World Cup. However, it ended in a brilliant Belgian comeback and they progressed to the next round. So how did it happen? How did Japan chuck away a 2-0 lead? And how did Belgium come back with so little time left in the game? Hi everyone, I'm Ghost Masala, and this video was suggested by a subscriber, and so it's just a reminder that all suggestions and criticism, more importantly, will be listened to. So if you're like, well, there's not enough Road to Hokkaido, make sure to comment that. I'll definitely listen to you. Or you're like, well, I want more stuff that's not football, that's not FIFA related. Same with that. So yeah, and I'm almost at 50 subs, which is brilliant. Hopefully I'll get there by Halloween. That would be absolutely great. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Hopefully enjoy this video. And yeah, I'd better just start the video, because otherwise you're not going to subscribe if you don't like the video. So Japan versus Belgium looked like one of the more interesting matches of the last 16, particularly as both teams had had some controversy in the group stages. Belgium had won their last match of Group G, meaning they had an easy match in the last 16. Japan, much lower ranked than Colombia at the time, and they still are much lower ranked than Colombia. But if they beat Japan, they would face Brazil, France and Argentina in their side of the World Cup. However, if they had lost their final match of Group G, they would have, out of the teams, only Spain and Croatia seemed dangerous out of the teams in the other half of the draw. But they had chosen to win their last match, so that they had the harder side of the draw. Good decision or not, well, it didn't matter in the end, as they reached the semi-finals anyway. Meanwhile, Japan had been very lucky to qualify from their group. A red card had helped them to victory against Colombia, and even then they only just about won. And then they qualified via the fair play rule after playing very, very cynically against Poland, just passing it around the back, hoping that Senegal wouldn't score, and that's how they played the whole game. And yeah, they got quite a lot of controversy for that. So both teams had had some sort of events that had happened to them previously in the World Cup, which made the tie quite interesting. And as for the game itself, Belgium seemed certain to win. They had the so-called golden generation, and they still do, of course, have that, with players such as Courtois, De Bruyne, Hazard, Lukaku, all world-class players, and a very solid defence, including Vertonghen, Alderweireld and company, who are some of the best defenders in the world. On the other hand, Japan's team had mostly sporadic players. Players like Kagawa, Yoshida, Kawashima, Honda and Haraguchi all occasionally have world-class moments, but most of the time they lack regular good form. So Honda scored a brilliant free kick in the 2010 World Cup, however he didn't really replicate that most of the time at club level. However, they did have Takashi Inui, who had been in brilliant form in the group stage, having many chances and scoring a couple of goals. And the first half was a very tense affair as the match started, with no side being clearly on top. However, Belgium did have more chances while Japan struggled to deliver in the final third. However, I would say that 0-0 was definitely a fair result at half time, and it'd been a very tense match, up until that point. However, straight after the break, Japan shocked Belgium out of nowhere, with Haraguchi pulling out a world-class moment and scoring a goal from the right hand side, which evaded Courtois and went into the net. And he previously looked like a weak link in the team in the previous matches, essentially giving a goal away against Senegal in that 2-2 draw in the group stages, but he pulled up with a brilliant goal there. And Belgium had clearly not recovered, as they allowed Inui enough space to create a second in his trademark cutting in fashion, and they probably watched the previous matches and they knew he could do stuff like that, and they just let him do it anyway. A brilliant cutting in that we'd seen him do in the group stages, and it was a clear goal, and I don't know why the defence didn't stop that. Yeah, so Japan were on top after having a really shocking 2-0 lead, and no one really expected them to have that at that point. Everyone was shocked who was watching the match, and everyone thought Belgium would be going home in another shock in a World Cup that had a lot of shocks already, such as Germany going out in the group stages, Argentina losing, and various other results. However, for Japan, it was always going to be aiming to try and hold on. They were always going to concede at some point, but it was just whether they could keep one goal ahead of Belgium and get through to the next round against Brazil. And as an amazing header from Vertonghen halved the deficit, it looks like Japan were going to have a very tough time of it, keeping Belgium out forever. Very nice header that one was. Probably Kawashima should have saved it in my opinion, but you know, that is what it is. And it was only a few minutes later when yet again another header, and it proved that headers and just in the air generally is Japan's weakness, as Fellaini equalised just 22 minutes after Inui's second. So it's a very quick response from Belgium, and they always look like equalising, and Japan's defence just fell apart, you know. Inexperience and just a lack of defensive quality really led to Belgium coming back in the match, as well as desire from the Belgian team. And Japan looked lost after that, and it was only one man's job to try and salvage the match. Kazuki Honda was brought on at 81 minutes played, and when Japan got a free kick in the 92nd minute, there was only going to be one man for the job. Honda took a free kick reminiscent of his 2010 one. If you don't know about his 2010 free kick, it was a brilliant free kick against Denmark from absolutely miles out. This free kick was also from miles out, and Courtois only just managed to get a hand to it, and it was almost going to be like back in 2010, 8 years before the Japan versus Belgium match in this World Cup. But Courtois saved it, and then that meant Japan had a corner in one of the last minutes of the game, and you think that they might try and go for it, and they did. They put the ball straight in, and unfortunately Courtois caught it, and then we all know what happened next. One of the goals of the tournament, a brilliant counter-attack by Belgium, which ended in Chadli getting a brilliant pass after Lukaku had left it in amazing fashion. If you haven't watched that goal, go and watch it definitely. But it was brilliant, and as soon as Courtois caught the ball after the corner, you could just see what was happening. And yeah, Japan were unfortunately knocked out after that point. At the end of a brilliant run which had seen them beat Colombia and draw with Senegal, and Inui of course had played well, probably been the best player of the team. Very similar to the 2010 World Cup one, and in a way it was the end of an era for a lot of those players who played back then, such as Honda, Hasebe, Nagatomo, Kawashima, all played back in the 2010 World Cup, and they went out in similar fashion, in very cruel fashion. They lost on penalties to Paraguay in the 2010 World Cup, and in this game, this loss was very cruel as well. So yeah, very similar fashion. So thanks for watching everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's sort of a different one. Road to Hokkaido will return hopefully on Monday, or maybe even before, but definitely by Monday, or maybe Tuesday. Anyway, yes, but if you want to see more Road to Hokkaido, then make sure to leave a comment. It's going to be a weekly thing at the moment, because it is quite popular, but not popular enough for me to do every video on it. Plus it takes quite a long time to make as well. But make sure to subscribe if you want me to get to 50 subscribers, which would be amazing. And yeah, I'm not planning on doing any like special video for 50 subscribers, but you know, as I said, I listen to suggestions, so if anyone has any ideas, then feel free to suggest them. And yeah, I'll see you next time.